Hey guys, Jake Blow here, the Habitat Pro. Today I'm going to take you on a tour of a small homestead where the owners have developed the shelter belt for years here in the middle of North Dakota, the middle of tillable land. And what does that teach us about how whitetails do things across their range? It's one of the easiest things that you can do on your property to set up pinches is change tillable into deer habitat. And you can often do so in less than 10 years and make it really high grade habitat. And we're going to see that today on this tour of this homestead. If this is of any value to you, of course, like and subscribe. Please do so. It really helps us out. Without further ado, let's get started on this tour. All right, here we are in the northeast corner of the property. We're going to start at connected cover. That kind of tells you what is already built. So you can see here they're coming in to the corner of this woodlot. Right here, the shelter belt that's been set up for so many years. All the young stuff there that you see was planted in 2012, and it's really doing a great job. So when you're setting up movement like this, you can see that a really common movement is right down the edge. But as far as bucks go, this is going to be that rule where if you've got an opening, they're going to be 15 to 20 yards inside cover. So right here you can see it's just the appropriate height, about face height right here on this ash tree, and they tore it up. So we're going to head down the way to the south here, and this is your buck travel corridor. Okay, so you can see that this is a bunch of bucks moving on the inside of cover. Now if I were setting this up, I'd of course probably hinge cut the outer two rows, and that would help the owner's shelter belt as well. But you can see here they really like this distance from buildings. This is another core concept that I teach a lot of my clients. They're always going to have a comfortable distance from a structure. And up here in the middle of North Dakota, where you have farmstead after farmstead, there's another one. It's pretty common that they'll be comfortable within 30 to 40 yards of a structure. And all you've got to do is give them the appropriate amount of cover. You can see they love this gray zone right here. That's a myrrh maple, I believe. And then inside of that looks like some honeysuckle. And then we got a couple of rows of spruce, maybe a red cedar or two, and then lilac on the outside. So here again is another one. Excellent, right here. And now this is an edge where they would feel comfortable going out into the field. You can see that. Or coming down the outside edge of the lilac. So that would be a great camera trap. And we're just going to follow the majority of the footprints here all the way around the farmstead. You can see here they're bedding just on the inside edge of these myrrh maples. This is one that has been in a lot of CRP rows for a lot of years. Fantastic brown cover. It holds those seed pods for, I'd say, the majority of winter. But now, lo and behold, our governmental entities are coming to us and saying that this is a bad thing. So, I don't know. It's control what you control. It's one of those things where, you know, don't plant buckthorn, but boy, if these, now that's a little bit of a scrape as well here. But they're definitely bedding, and they love this gray zone. You can see when they're bedding back here, this is 2 rows outside of the yard. And there's evergreens inside of the honeysuckle bush up in there, but yotes love this stuff too. And now on the back side here, this is a spot where they keep it mowed just because of the danger of fire. So this could become a food plot very easily. Probably screen that off from the road. There's another scrape right underneath that elm tree over there. So this is very much sheltered back here. You can see the bucks are rubbing on anything they can. So back here in the edge of this thing, this is all lilac, and I wouldn't say it's getting browsed at all. So if you do have high deer numbers, which they don't in the middle of North Dakota, but they are fairly localized, so stuff does get over browsed out here. But this is a very good template for a shelter belt. Squat down again for you. So we've got lilac in front of us, 2 rows of spruce, then a row of Amur maple, and then a row of honeysuckle. And that is the gray zone that we have here. I'm gonna jump up to that corner where everything comes together with the old shelter belt of box elder, and we're gonna see how deer connect to that. All right, we've now come to the edge of the shelter belt planting, and this is another core concept that you can often put in your favor here. Right at the beginning of rows of things, bucks will want to make their mark. So you can see right here is where the new shelter belt meets up with the old one. So this is a woodlot where we'll see the travel corridor going about the same amount of distance inside cover. But they would love to have a place to announce their presence with authority out here. So you can give them that. You know, right here they've shredded a lilac, which is, you know, it's definitely not their preferred, but it just happens to be where they want to be. So in that particular situation, I might do a red cedar. You could try a post. You could try a horizontal rub. I know the guys in Iowa like doing that. A lot of different things you could try there just to put kind of a signpost rub. So here's another one that gets beat up, and then the canary grass takes over and we don't have anything. So I would do an on-purpose grapevine right here, and we may do that, and then just make sure it's down to dirt underneath rather than this canary grass. It's worth nothing. So now this is a spot where the homestead has disappeared just because of the years and years and years of blowdowns and everything that destroys or tries to destroy a box elder. That's just what happens. So on this back edge is where decent daylight hunting would take place. Here's another scrape. So they're just doing this everywhere they have the appropriate distance inside a cover. And it's about, I'd say, anywhere from 15 to 20 yards all the time. So when you're setting up travel corridors in farm country, that's how you do it. So there's another one. There's a rub line that goes up through there, but that's not exterior to the property. So you can see here we're getting to the big cottonwoods. So now where this trail comes inside a cover here, you could of course be in these big cottonwoods in a bow stand. Now we got some rubs going. And this is the old shelter belt of Caragana and ash and box elder that has over the years become excellent rabbit-tat, just like it's become good deer habitat. And now they got moose up here. So you can see what that becomes when it blows down. There's a honeysuckle that is blown down. Excellent cover. Boys were hunting rabbits for Grandma and Grandpa here this weekend for Thanksgiving. So there's another one. This is again just, well, what, 15 yards inside cover, but he can do this all day, spend a bunch of time here. Nobody even knows he's in the world. So you're looking to set these up so so that deer do what they're designed to do, rather than putting in a huge food plot and hoping deer come out in the middle of the daytime. That's just not what they're designed to do. So give bucks what they want. Looks like we got a little bit of cleanup here to do from the travel corridor we did in years past. Now this is a spot where you could do a little food plot, because if you had a wind then that blew back at the house, which you can see top center of frame, the green roof, and then of course the grain bins that are at the back of the yard, this would be a spot you could get into right here and hunt a ground blind with your wind blowing back at the house, because they're going to be back here. This would also be a spot where I would do a single solitary earth blind water hole. You can see the activity in here is just crazy. They never let these ash and box elder seedlings get very tall. We are right now about 60 yards from the house. But even if we stand up on the third floor and look back here, we can't see anything. So deer have what they want, we have what we want. Here's one of the big signposts now, because we've come almost 3/4 of a circle. You can see this one is just a ash tree that has been kind of grown bent over, just reaching for sunlight. So it's given them a nice big bush of live branches here right above this scrape. So this is going to be a pretty common one. You can see from the footprints here, it's going across the road. I'm getting close to the northwest corner of the property. And soon we'll be at the most comical licking branch on the property. You're gonna love seeing that one. It is the first I've ever seen of its quality. So right here, what I would probably do, of course with the owner's permission, is I would hinge cut the edge, just because that's too wide open. It's ash, box elder, beautiful hinge cut species. And then we may even take for firewood that black willow on the edge and let those blow up. And what we would do there is, so we knock down the road hunting, we would cut those off right at road height, decapitate them, and then we'll get that huge bushy stem count above it. And then we've got the reed canary grass here that I would say is probably holding some of this regen back. But if we could run a licking branch right under this one, they'd appreciate it. Right now they don't have a way through this band of lilac, so we'd punch away through right here. And I will show you just on the other side of this, there's an open lane, and we would lead them right there, and I'll show you why in just a moment. All right, we've come about 30 yards and my habitat radar went off there, there, and there. So this time of year, great time to look for black berries still hanging on, because we have buckthorn. So we will have to kill these 3 buckthorn berry trees so it doesn't take over our habitat. Seems to be really localized to some areas in North Dakota. Farmsteads, homesteads like this with a lot of tillable in between. See, isn't this crazy? They just go right around this because they can't walk through the rest. And boom, there's a rub. And boom, there's a rub. And a travel corridor going right down Broadway of these with a lot of rubs on them. And then there you go, bam. Right here, I would probably solidify this as just a box elder. I would solidify that with a grapevine. And then we're going right along here. You can see a good distance from the house. through a little bit of a gray zone. I'm sure this is mostly nighttime movement, but you can see we're around to one of the two shelter belts of the neighboring parcel across the road. And I'm just gonna keep following Mr. Bucky here. We just passed the northwest corner of the property. And you see right here, if I wanted this to be good hunting during the daytime, I would of course want to increase the screening, and I've got the ash and the box elder here to do it. So I would hinge cut that, but a lot of times landowners don't like the look of hinge cutting, so we'll just decapitate them. Coppice cut is what it's called. And I've got a video on that where you can see the immense growth off the root ball that you do usually have to protect because deer appreciate the nutrition that gives them. So you can see what we're coming up to here. Where we started the tour is on the northeast corner, and we're getting there. So this right here is a no-go zone during the middle of the daytime, typically for bucks. So if they were going to come across, they'd probably cross on that homestead over there that doesn't have anything anymore. They'd get into that line and then they'd run to the northeast corner, which is fine, but you definitely want to have a full NASCAR loop set up for them. Just look at the amount of free seed we have here. Beginning of winter, all green ash. Awesome deer habitat tree. Look at it all right there. It's crazy. All right, here is the most comical scrape I have ever seen. There was one right here too. This is a live branch. You can see him right there. But this one I had never seen before. The creator just having fun, I think. So if you can check this out. Huge car hood size scrape, but look at this. It's not it. Watch this. Oh, come on, Bubba. Not even alive. You see that? So goofy. So this one, of course, we have a live branch there off the ash tree. We would probably want a little more secure grapevine hanging down here, which we'll put. And then that completes the loop. So you can see what this is though. It's just about a 40-yard wide shelter belt around the whole farmstead. And bucks have to come in and run it, but they will run it roughly down the middle because then they have their 15 to 20 yards of screening on the outside, which here is not fantastic, but very much could be. And then, of course, 15 to 20 yards, 30 yards away from the farmstead itself. So if I were to set this up for hunting, you know, we would of course want a little thicker habitat along that edge over there, along the east side, because they would probably enter there coming from cover to the north down those shelter belt strips. They would run along the back side of the property and use elevation to their advantage. And then of course they would be safe in the old shelter belt. And then they would probably exit that northwest corner and head over into the state land, which is about 200 acres of high grass and all kinds of dogwood. So this is probably all nighttime movement, but of course if we thickened it up here with the chainsaw, it would definitely play. So if this has been any help to you at all, guys, I really appreciate. Like, subscribe, share it out there on your social media platforms. We really appreciate the support. This is Jake Bull, the Habitat Pro. We are today in the middle of North Dakota, base camped out of northern Minnesota. Get out and enjoy creation, guys. God bless.